Frazier! Down goes Frazier!
You're way too beautiful, girl. They only wanna do you hurt. You'll have me suicidal, suicidal when they say it's over. I actually saw a post for Sean Kingston on tour again. That took me back just to see that post. But for those of y'all that don't know, Sean Kingston is back on tour. I'm not too eager to spend my money to go see him because he's kind of a one-hit wonder. But anyways, what's up, y'all? This is Hot Boxing Minute, your favorite pharmaceutical engineer turned boxing analyst, back at you with that uncut realness as only I can bring it to you. My apologies on taking so long in between my YouTube videos. I've been a little bit busy, y'all. I've been grinding. I've been in the trenches. For those of y'all that don't know, Hot Boxing Minute pulls up to events. Oh yeah, where these other YouTubers don't even step out the damn house. A lot of them are too busy selling clickbait and race baiting to bother to step out to events because they know they'll get beat up at the events, if not by fans of the sport, by the fighters and their entourages for selling garbage online. Anyways, not your boy Hot Boxing Minute. I pull up. I was working the Marv Nation event in Temecula this past Friday. Got a chance to chop it up with Fernando Vargas. My boy Mario Ramos got the win, a TKO stoppage. Was back there hanging out with Beto Duran and Eddie Reynoso. I kid you not. Saturday night, there was a Club Pro Fight event out there in San Diego at the 4 Point Sheraton, courtesy of Red Boxing Promotions. And I actually got to stream that on my TikTok channel. So those of you who follow me on TikTok got a chance to partake in a very interesting moment for me because I've never had the sole responsibility of streaming a fight placed upon my shoulders. They didn't have licensing to stream the fight. And I told them I've got 130,000 followers on TikTok. I managed to get them 8,000 views for their boxing promotion. Very fascinating set of developments. And I will be at the Jaime Munguia versus Sergey Deryevchenko Golden Boy card out there in Ontario, California. That's for a separate video. But here and now, we're talking about the Tartan Tornado. Scotland's finest, Josh Taylor, is going to be defending his WBO and ring 140-pound straps against Teofimo Lopez this weekend, Saturday, June 10th, at Madison Square Garden, at the Hulu Center, in the small room under the big room at Madison Square Garden. And it's definitely one of those fun fights that boxing purists have been wanting to see for a while. Or I don't know if they've been wanting to see it for a while. I think most of us wanted to see Teofimo Lopez at 135 fight the likes of Tank and Ryan Garcia and Devin. It never materialized. But hardcore boxing fans have known about this fight, and we're very excited to be upon the precipice of this fight actually going down. I think so far right now, I think for Teofimo Lopez versus Josh Taylor, or should I say Josh Taylor versus Teofimo Lopez, because Josh Taylor is the champion, the current betting odds are like 1.5 to 1 in favor of Josh Taylor. So it's a very close fight in the bettor's eyes. And you got to take into account their resume of their past 6 opponents because they've been fighting quality. Josh Taylor's last 6 opponents have a combined record of 133-0. He's taken O's left and right. Teofimo Lopez, his last 6 opponents, their combined record is 154-6. So I think the tip goes to Teofimo Lopez for fighting more experienced fighters that have been through more fights, but arguably the more impressive number is that 133-0 that Josh Taylor has. And these two will be colliding this weekend at Madison Square Garden at the Hulu Center. Boxing community, how do you see this fight playing out between the Tartan Tornado and Teofimo Lopez? Let me know in the comments section, y'all. I want those early predictions. And hit that like button if you haven't already done so. And this is such a fun fight. You know, Josh Taylor, his current record is 19-0. He's undefeated, 13 knockouts, 32 years old. He became undisputed in only 18 fights. That's remarkable if you think about it. He started off in Taekwondo, took up boxing somewhere around his teens, represented Britain in the 2012 Olympic Games, started his career fast, got wins over guys like Miguel Vasquez, Victor Postal. That led to him getting into the World Boxing Super Series. That was when he got his first title win against Ivan Bedincek. I think that was 2016. I'm not sure if I got the year right, but he defended that strap 4 times. En route to winning the World Boxing Super Series, became the unified champion, and then he ended up beating Jose Ramirez in 2021 to become the undisputed junior welterweight champion. And he had become the first undisputed welterweight champion since Terrence Crawford in 2017. Before that, it was Costa Tszyu when he beat Zab Judah in 2003. So Josh Taylor comes with quite a healthy resume, folks. A former undisputed super lightweight 140-pound world champion. And he didn't lose. He just vacated those belts one by one. So now all he has left going into this fight with Teofimo Lopez is the WBO and the Ring Championship. And those are going to be on the line this weekend out there in New York City. Goodness, how you like that summary of their skill sets, of their resumes? There's Teofimo Lopez. So going into this fight with Josh Taylor, Teofimo Lopez current record is 18-1. He's got 13 knockouts. He's younger. He's 25 years old. Started boxing at the age of 6 out there in Brooklyn, New York City. Won a 2015 National Golden Gloves in the lightweight division. So he was there at lightweight for quite a long time. He ended up competing in the Olympics for Honduras in 2016. Didn't medal, but competed. That's something him and Josh Taylor both have in common. They're both Olympians. Josh Taylor competed in the Olympics in 2012. After he got out those Olympics in 2016, he signed with Bob Arum in Top Rank. Kind of got fast-tracked. In 2019, he got to Richard Comey and dusted him off in 2 rounds in that amazing knockout. Became a champion himself. I believe he won the IBF lightweight title. I could be wrong on that one. And that led to him fighting Lomachenko in that infamous 2020 COVID lockdown, no audience, crowd noise fight. And he is one of the few people to score a win over Vasyl Lomachenko. And that made him almost the undisputed lightweight champion. There are still some minor technicalities over what the difference is between being undisputed and Devin Haney's email belt versus the franchise belt. I don't know. I never really understood that mess to begin with. But it's a fun fight between these two guys. Stylistically, Josh Taylor and Teofimo Lopez are about as different as they come, but they're both elite in the way they approach boxing in their own skill sets. Josh Taylor has a very well-educated jab. He can throw it all different kinds of ways. He likes to set it up for his straight left. I think Josh Taylor's biggest strength is that he can switch stances to create angles, which opens up his offense against people. And he is great fighting on the inside. Probably the best inside fighter in the whole entire 140-pound division. Maybe equal to Regis Prograis, but you got to give the nod to Josh Taylor because he does have that win over Regis Prograis. So Teofimo's goal is to not let Josh Taylor eat on the inside and fight him up close. Teofimo Lopez, he's got a decent jab himself. He has very underestimated bodywork skills. That man will attack your body and slowly break you down, and that will open up his opportunities for counterpunching. Teofimo Lopez is a counterpuncher's counterpuncher. He's very explosive, freakishly athletic, and he will use that Philly shell defense and bodywork to slowly break you down to get your rhythm to where he can clock it, to where he can counter you with his explosive knockout power, which we all know he has in abundance. And his goal is to break you down to get that knockout. Will he get it against Josh Taylor this Saturday? That remains to be seen. I'm not so sure, but we'll find out. How do you think that stylistic matchup plays out this Saturday, folks? Let me know in the comments section. Let's chop this up. And how do I think the fight plays out? Shit. You know, I've been going back and forth, and you know, to say Teofimo Lopez says crazy stuff in front of the camera is to ignore Josh Taylor's history of being very outspoken himself. They both say crazy stuff. They both don't hold back their words or mince their words at all. Teofimo Lopez especially has put himself in hot water recently. He made a comment about Top Rank and Bob Arum preferring their black fighters or something to that extreme, which is kind of interesting considering Terrence Crawford tried to sue Bob Arum for discriminating against him for being black. I don't know how that works. I'm more curious about what effect does that have on that Bud Light endorsement, that corporate endorsement when he made that comment. I don't know. Josh Taylor, he ended up pleading guilty to a hate crime out there in Scotland. Apparently he was at some club and called a bouncer a homophobic slur that starts with the letter G, and called him a cunt in some order. And he pled guilty to that and had to pay a small fine. So you would think the press conferences, or at least their face-to-faces, would be very entertaining. But Josh Taylor has very little patience. They had a sit-down, a face-off in a recent press release, and Josh Taylor took off his mic and walked away. So both these two guys, at the very least, are going to give us some good classic clips when they exchange words, should they get a chance to be in the same place at the same time. I have definite concerns. One has to be concerned about both Josh Taylor and Teofimo Lopez's last performances, because you're only as good as your last performance. And if you know me on my platform, I'm not one to scream robbery, especially when it comes to Josh Taylor. Now, Josh Taylor had that fight with Jack Catterall out there in Glasgow, Scotland, if I recall it correctly. And mind you, I sat through, Jermell Charlo versus Castano. That controversial fight didn't scream robbery. Tank versus Pitbull Cruz didn't scream robbery. Did not scream robbery when Little B-Hop ended up getting the win over Rayo Valenzuela. But when it came to Jack Catterall versus Josh Taylor got knocked down twice and still got the win by decision over Jack Catterall. On that one, I was screaming bloody murder. I was like, yo, that was a straight robbery. They robbed that man, Jack Catterall. And Jack Catterall has looked impressive he did look impressive in his last performance. Mind you, that is Josh Taylor's last performance against Jack Catterall, and I thought he should have got the L on that one. Now, when it comes to these last performances of both Teofimo Lopez and Josh Taylor, I mean, we all know about Josh Taylor and Jack Catterall, but, Teofimo Lopez didn't exactly have a good last outing either. That last fight he had against the Spaniard Sandor Martin at Third Madison Square Garden in the same location, many people believe that Sandor Martin should have got the nod on that one. Sandor Martin was pretty much controlling the flow of the fight, was pretty much the ring general for most of the fight, had Teofimo essentially on his back foot, and was kind of outboxing Teofimo. Actually, there were moments where Sandor Martin was on his back foot too, but he was fighting so intelligently against Teofimo Lopez. Teofimo Lopez got the split decision win against Sandor Martin, and it was definitely not a good look for Teofimo Lopez. So he shares that in common with Josh Taylor. They both are eager to prove that their last performances was a fluke and that they're both still elite and at the top of their game. So this is going to be on their mindsets going into this fight, both Teofimo Lopez and Josh Taylor. So will Teofimo Lopez be able to shake off the infamous "do I still have it" moment? Does Teofimo Lopez still have it? You tell me. I am going to, as far as my prediction, I just think that Josh Taylor is a dog, a very mean-spirited, spiteful fighter. Teofimo Lopez is too, but I'm going to favor Josh Taylor in this one simply just because his sheer resume is insane. Victor Postal, Ivan Barancek, Regis Prograis, Jose Ramirez, it's insane. It's insane. You can't discount Josh Taylor's performances when he's at his best. When he beat Jose Ramirez, that was one of the most stunning performances because I actually was rooting for Jose Ramirez. I can eat the crow on that one. He was cutting angles. I want to say he knocked down Ramirez once or twice in that fight. Won a clear unanimous decision. So as far as just who's faced a more difficult opposition, I think Josh Taylor has, although you got to give credit to Teofimo Lopez. He did get the knockout over Richard Comey and against Vasil Lomachenko, but I still favor Josh Taylor in this affair. I think he probably wins by decision, and I'm not confident in that one. Teofimo Lopez could catch him with a slick counter and make it a nasty dogfight himself, but I'm leaning in favor of Josh Taylor to win this by decision. How do you think this fight plays out? Let me know in the comment section, y'all. We got to chop this one up. And before I end it, I want to make sure I shout out the homie. So now, We got Jermaine Ortiz. He's coming back to fight on the undercard for Josh Taylor versus Teofimo Lopez. For those of you who don't remember, Jermaine Ortiz was the guy who pretty much had Jamel Herring in his last fight. That was the last fight of Jamel Herring's career. Kind of schooled him pretty thoroughly. Got a clear decision win. Got that fight with Vasyl Lomachenko and showed some very, very good looks in that fight against Lomachenko. I think if he'd had more experience going into later rounds and longer fights, he might have got a win against Lomachenko. And prior to all that, Jermaine Ortiz was a guest on the Hot Boxing Minute show. I interviewed him with my homeboy from across the pond, Low Blow Leo. He's also here on TikTok and Instagram especially, but Jermaine Ortiz is a talent. You want to keep an eye out for him because Jermaine Ortiz is one of the best guys in the lightweight division. He is going to be fighting a very, very, very tough competitor in Humberto Galindo. Born in the States, but pretty much raised in Tijuana, trained and fighting out of Tijuana. So we get to see Jermaine Ortiz against Humberto Galindo. The last person Galindo fought was Raymond Murataya. So you're going to want to pay attention to see what Jermaine Ortiz looks like after that Vasyl Lomachenko win. That's going to be this weekend out there in Madison Square Garden in the undercard to Teofimo Lopez versus Josh Taylor. And I think I'm going to end the video there. Hit that follow button if you're not already following. Hit that like button. Leave a comment or a suggestion. This is Hot Boxing Minute, folks, the future of boxing analysis on YouTube and TikTok. Peace.